I dreamt that a great artist invited me to his studio. I can't remember if he was a muralist or a poet, a novelist or a sculptor, a singer or a painter, but he was a great artist, and great artists must be men to be great. I took out my poems, but instead he instructed me to take off my clothes. If I was 16, I might comply because I had read Nabokov in school and seen The Lover. Museums of fine art had shaped the sex and gender of my dreams. I can't remember if it was a studio or a study, a library or a laboratory, a museum or a mausoleum. But in it, I saw infinite pieces of immobile women, parts of us, cataloged amongst encyclopedias of metaphors and brightly stained palettes. In tall jars, there were legs, perfectly separated by size and color, little fat white legs and long brown legs, and so on. There were nipples pinned behind glass like butterfly wings. The black ones with big areolas, the tiny pink ones, each with a label, a black word on white paper. There were boxes full of ribs, neatly stacked, cleanly gutted of lungs and breath. There were reams of skin like canvas and cups of blue and black and hazel eyes, glazed in glass, preserved in clear liquid, eyes unable to blink or gaze back. I saw albums full of inert lips, frozen in smiles. Red lips and pink lips and coffee-colored lips, slightly broken at the edges from so many invasions, from so much sucking and smiling, and swallowing and smiling, and repeating the sucking, swallowing, and smiling. Lips lined in punctuated stillness, like a beautiful poem saying nothing but violence. Amongst cobalt paint and envelopes full of eloquent words, I felt silence and the humid smell of hurricanes approaching. Silence dripping over an odalisque's supple hips, dead quiet between a Venus's juicy thighs. Silence in the plastic of Lolita's sunglasses, silence in the skin of Neruda's muses, silence in the voices of Marquez's sad whores who never really spoke, but sucked and swallowed and smiled. Silence in the mouths of the whores and the virgins, the mothers and the maids, the girls, the young girls, especially the girls. I take out my poems, and instead, he instructs me to take off my clothes. He has a paintbrush, or maybe a knife. If I am 36, I do not comply. I am listening for the voices through the cracks, for the tongues that sneak up like snakes from the locked cellar below. Tongues have a way of escaping, I know. My tongue attaches my body parts when I speak. The body parts shatter the jars and find the other parts when they speak. The bodies become people when they speak. I dreamt I visited the studio of a great artist. I took out my poems, and instead he instructed me to take off my clothes. I do not comply. I speak this poem, and his studio burns.